What's an oh shoot moment where you realized you've been doing something the wrong way for years? I had a used car and didn't realize until a couple years later that it had remote start. Person buying my now more used car, this has remote start? Me, no. Person, pushes button, starts car, me. When I was 5, a Pizza Hut employee told me that the powder on the breadsticks was called fairy dust. Ordered extra fairy dust on my breadsticks until I was around 14 when an employee said, "Do you mean garlic salt?" It still devastates me to realize how obtuse I was. It wasn't very long, but when I was learning to drive, my dad was explaining the rule of thumb regarding a safe distance to be behind the car in front of you. I thought it meant to hold your thumb up, and if your thumb didn't cover the entire car you were too close to it. When he caught me doing that, he asked me what I was doing. When I explained, he burst out laughing, then considered it, and concluded it wasn't a bad idea, but perhaps a bit distracting. We bought a nice liquor cabinet. We got it delivered and noticed it was a bit shorter than we thought. No biggie. 3 years later, we are moving. Lift up cabinet and these beautiful ornate, screw-on legs, wrapped in tape and bubble wrap, fall off the bottom. Looks so much better now. Until last week, when my father-in-law would made a phone call on his very basic non-touch screen flip phone. He would open the menu, scroll to the phone icon, open it, hit the soft key for contacts, scroll to the person he wanted to call, press OK, then press the soft key to call. When he mentioned how he preferred his landline because he could just dial the number, I said, "Humor me. Just dial the number and hit the talk button." I've never seen a man so simultaneously grateful and embarrassed. Couple years ago I was trying to open some toothpaste and had to break the seal of the tube. I used to look for something like a nail to break it. Then one day I looked at the pointy end of the cap and thought, what if I could use this to break it? And oh shut, it did fit and broke it effortless. And so did every other tube product I had in the house and their respective cap. My mind was blown. Edit, changed dental paste to toothpaste, since it sounds weird in English. Since the dawn of time, I would pick up the silverware and utensils out of their tray in the dishwasher, and put them away in their drawers, then go back, and pick up more out of the dishwasher. Then one day I saw my wife lift the tray out of the dishwasher and I legit stood there with my mouth open. When I was a kid I loved drinking coffee, but didn't know how to make it. My mom taught me, but the coffee ratio she told me to use was like 1 TBSP per 1 pot of coffee, as opposed to the actual ratio 1 TBSP 1 cup of water. Fast forward about 13 years to a couple months ago, and I was reading the back of my Folgers coffee thing and there was a little diagram showing how much to actually use. I then realized my mom had told me the wrong amount, so I wouldn't drink all her coffee, and B, wasn't super hyped up going into school. I always thought eggplant tasted itchy, like itchy was a flavor, like sour or salty. Fed some to my baby and his face turned red wherever the eggplant touched, and I realized we are both just allergic to eggplant. And itchy isn't a flavor. Edit, thank you for the silver, kind internet strangers. My mom has been pronouncing Massachusetts for years and no one corrected her because they thought she just had strong feelings about Massachusetts. Apparently the red ring around the bologna is not supposed to be eaten. I lived in a house for 6 years with a bathroom with no shelf or cupboard to put toiletries into. I was very disappointed and ended up using a windowsill that was way too small to fit everything. Anyway, one day we had a friend over and he asked why we don't have anything in our bathroom cupboard. I was confused, so he showed me. It turns out that the mirror I had been using for 6 years has a hidden compartment behind it. It was a mirror door to a mounted cupboard on the wall. I was astonished and immediately moved all my stuff from the window into the new space. My friend was baffled that I had never figured out there was a space behind the mirror. There was an obvious gap between it and the wall that I somehow failed to notice. No one really ever told me you don't need to buy shoes with the 2-finger space in front of the toes after your feet stop growing. I had been buying an entire size too big until about age 23. 23. One day in college I decided to try a pair of Merrell barefoot type shoes, and after reading the sizing guide, bam. Mind blown. It's terribly obvious mistake I, 29F, like to blame on being an only child. But really I'm just a flipping moron. Well. This was a few years ago. I was the director of it for a very large company. I was given a new cell phone and told to set up my voicemail. I don't know that when I recorded my name it would be played to whomever I leave a voicemail for. Well, the name I recorded was Dada84 Corporate It God. I worked there for 4 years until someone in the hallway referred to me as the Corporate It Go D. I was so embarrassed. I owned a car with swivel headlights and it was very nice to have that. Discovered 3 years in that I had never turned on the swivel feature. My name is Ryan. It took me until I was in 1st grade to realize my name wasn't *I and * the alphabet. My mom had told me my name was in the alphabet and I felt so lucky. She obviously meant the letters *to spell my name were in the alphabet, but nope. It took that long to realize the alphabet didn't go W, X, *RYAN *Z. Last month was the first time I discovered lint rollers were peelable. Literally sat there for a minute to take that in. Edit, I'm 20. My eldest child had a penchant for blowing out of his diapers. We tried everything but multiple times a week we had to pull that poo-filled onishi over his head and inevitably give our now super duper poo covered infant a bath. Around when I was pregnant with our second, a post went viral about how infant onasis are designed to be broad at the shoulders, so you can pull them down and off instead of over the head. Poor kid would have had so many fewer poo in hair incidents had I known that then. Not wrong for years, but I work help desk, and we use a specific, terrible piece of software for our support system, IBM Notes. It turns out that for the first 9 months I had been working there, it wasn't set up properly, so I wasn't sending any emails from it at all. No notifications that the ticket went to me, no responses from me, no close notifications, ***nothing. Someone noticed this, took a look, and fixed a setting. I immediately sent out over 1,000 emails to everyone in the company. Realize the multicolored tape measures glued to the door frames of gas stations, etc. are for identifying robbers, not for measuring yourself as you walk out. I mean, they can be, but that's not why they are there. Unless you're the robber. I used to lace the speed hooks on my boots with 2 hands until I saw my linesman friend speed hook his boots. https:// to point B/1QWs move 7WI0 like this. I was shook. Not mine, but my dad has been spelling his name wrong his whole life. He's 51. His name is Jeffrey, and he's been spelling it like that since he learned how to spell his name. A few months ago my mom pulled out his birth certificate, and we all learned it's actually spelled Jeffrey. Not sure if he spells it correctly now, but it was definitely an oh shut moment for him. Learned earlier last year bust a nut isn't an expression for when something hits your nuts, or you land in a way that crushes them. I was at Crate and Barrel with my GF talking about how it's so weird they don't make tongs, so you open them up super wide and then press in. I thought it was odd that they only gave you a super tiny opening. In the middle of me saying this, she just presses the button at the bottom of the tongs I was holding, and I stop mid-sentence in shame. I used to fill the kettle by the spout. My parents have always done it this way. I thought the center part was mainly for decoration, but not functional. I don't know why I never questioned this. One day I bought a new tea kettle and my husband was like, WTF, what is inside this? And with great ease, opened the center to pull out a manual with instructions and whatnot. I was drinking dirty paper water for like 2 weeks. When I first got a debit card and would go out to eat at restaurants with my friends, I would leave a cash tip on the table. When I got the receipt to put how much I was paying, I would write down how much money I left on the table. For at least 6 months I gave double tips to every waitress I had. Edit, word. When I was a kid and was acting up, my dad would always threaten to leave me at this mean old lady's house. Her name was Helen Handbasket. Fast forward about 28 years later, and it clicks out of nowhere while I was on a customer call at work. Customer, this whole network is going to hell in a handbasket. Me, ha. I'm an idiot. Customer, did you figure it out? Me, oh, no. Not yet. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more.